We have this story from Raw's Alerts. Hundreds, if not thousands, of kids and teenagers are staging anti-ICE protests in Roblox.
Oh, my.
Hundreds, if not thousands of kids across the country have taken a Roblox service to organize and stage virtual protests against ICE, from digital rallies to chaotic in-game riots.
That's really funny.
Young players are transforming the popular gaming platform into a hub of political expression. The movement, coordinated through group chats, is rapidly gaining traction, especially in Brookhaven, Roblox's most popular server. At the same time, some players are role-playing as ICE agents, conducting raids on illegals, and even opening fire on anti-ICE protesters in the game. What this says to me, kids are going to grow up living in tiny rooms where they play video games all day, and this will be their reality. Like in that Black Mirror episode where everybody lived in a box that was all TVs, and they had an avatar version of themselves in the audience, but they never actually went anywhere. Mm-hmm. This is what kids are turning into. Don't let your kids watch tablets or iPads. And I'm going to say this. I know a lot of parents out there that purport to be conservative, and they give all their kids tablets and mesmerize them with it. And your kids are going to grow up to be developmentally disabled. This is the kind of stuff that's happening. I can't believe it. I can't believe the amount of people that I've seen who have kids and claim to be conservative, claim to be aware of what's going on, and then I see them hand a tablet to their kid and then turn around. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, yo, your kid is going to be, their brain will be jello.
Yep. Outsourcing parenting to the digital landscape is poison. And also, on top of all that, you also don't know who else is playing this. Like, you know, when I did that story with the predators and stuff, a lot of those sick people, demons, are using things like Roblox to talk to kids too, pretending to be kids and lure them out of the house. Straight up pedophiles, like straight up demon pedophiles.
That happens a lot. Like they'll pay kids in-game cash for nudes and stuff.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. Oh, that's
now
real.
I can't say what I wanted to say, which is we should all create accounts and be ICE agents.
No, I mean we could, and then we could go after those guys.
One of them
go after the pedophile.
Yeah, we'd be like, we're ICE agents in Roblox, and we're taking you down, mofo. Yeah.
But these kids are going to grow up, and it's funny because you see this. Their political action is going to be, I'm just going to sit at home and play video games. The state will be able to do whatever it wants, whenever it wants, as long as they can live their life in a virtual reality. And I wonder if that is a goal and intention of powerful corporate interests.
Well, if people are in a virtual reality, then they're not going to be motivated to go out and protest and stuff, especially when they can protest in the virtual reality where it's the ultimate.
There will be no protest. There's not going to be any real protest. You're going to go into virtual reality, and you're going to be a demon slayer, and you're going to have exactly what you want. Mm-hmm. And then when it comes to...
But your First Amendment right will be restricted to the server.
Indeed. And no one will care because they grew up on it. It's exactly like... Let me tell you this. What if I told you, Shane, how would you feel if a cop came to your house and said that he was going to require all of your family members to register a number with the federal government where they would document and log you and your history and your work and what your family does? What would you say?
They already do.
Exactly.
I live in a police state.
And when you bring up that idea to people, they don't care. Mm-hmm. They go, what do you mean? We all get registered digital serial numbers with the government when we're born.
Not if you have a home birth out there.
You're still legally required to do it.
You still
don't have to give them a social security number.
You are there. Then
I'm just telling it's a recommendation.
And then they're undocumented.
Yes.
Yep.
It will cause problems for that child possibly in the future.
They will be called undocumented.
Yep.
And what they are doing in the public space by calling illegal immigrants undocumented is lumping up anybody who doesn't enter the machine state with anybody who came here illegally. Yep. You're the same thing.
I didn't get a social security number until I was like 8 or 9 years old.
Really?
Yeah.
How'd that happen?
Well, because my parents were... doing their own thing. And so I didn't have a social security number. I didn't get baptized.
Was it like a rebellion of...
No, they just literally could not be bothered.
Now it's all automatic.
Yeah.
Is it automatic?
Well, I mean...
I had to apply for my son's 15
When you're born,
years ago.
they just gave us documents, said sign here, sign here, sign here.
Oh, yeah.
In the hospital?
They did that
If you're in a hospital, they just come and it's just like...
They give you all that, and then you
part
get
of
the
the whole
birth
thing,
certificate. Yeah.
So these kids are going to grow up in much the same way. My grandpa told me this a long time ago. Rest in peace. He was saying when they told us we'd have to register with the government and get numbers, people were losing it. They were furious. Like, what? We got to register and get a government serial number? What do you think this is? And now he's like, you're all born with it. You don't care.
Yep.
Did you
It's
see
normal.
the thing where there are a lot of American airlines, like I think it's American, Delta, and United, and they sell passenger data to the federal government?
Wow.
So they're tracking where you go and
They're all doing it.
all that stuff, and they sell it to the government. And then Palantir, which I'm sure you have very strong opinions on.
Don't get me started.
I know.
They sponsored that lovely parade.
Yes. They are working with the federal government to consolidate all the data so that there's no divisions between
Unfortunately,
the data with
they've
one
been
or
doing
the
that
other.
since
They've been doing that
2003,
for a while, but
Yep.
that's kind of it'll be much easier when they decide to implement the social credit system.
Yeah.
So you guys are more of my libertarian friends than
Don't call me that.
than other on that. You,
I have
okay.
none
I'm
of
just
these
opposed
things.
to everything.
What was counter-revolutionary and anti-communist? Can I call you all that?
Look, I mean, that's pretty accurate.
This Palantir thing and the Doge effort to sync up the government data, right? One of the big complaints from Elon, the computers aren't
Fake story, made up.
The computers aren't talking to each other.
Story's fake.
Story's
Really?
fake.
The New York Times ran the story, and the headline didn't match what they're reporting. And the reporting said, I love it. They use that language where they're like, Palantir is working with Donald Trump in order to take all of America's data and compile a database some people think may be a possibility at some point in the future. And I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Everybody just ran with it. All the conservatives said, wow, I can't believe Trump would do that. And I'm like, yeah, I didn't either. So we pulled the story up, and the New York Times said, we think Palantir might do this.
Yeah,
And I was like, what? So
Palantir said they weren't doing it, but I think they've been doing it since 2003.
Okay, so
the people in the administration are still talking about it like it's going to happen. And there's a report coming out that just came out today about Trump switching over to like a lot of AI systems in the coming weeks.
my question is less about
would use
Palantir
Palantir.
and more about the principle of the thing. Are you guys in favor or opposed to, as Elon said, the computers talking to each other within the government to make it more efficient?
I want to exile that.
what you just described sounds completely fine.
Completely fine.
Computers and government talking to each other be more efficient.
It
So that
depends.
like the federal government as a single entity, they have a single database, so the IRS can see immigration data or something.
Can the humans
that's
understand
a-
the
they already-
language that the
that's legal
computers
now.
are using? That matters.
What?
If I said it, can the humans understand the language that the computers are using?
What does that
to
mean?
Talk to each other. Can
Computers talking to each other just means that if you work for the IRS, you can see immigration data.
Okay, that's fine.
Which
But
of
It doesn't mean the
That's
computer
fine.
is literally going, "Hey, immigration computer, let me talk to you."
well, I'm talking about like using AI or whatever. There was that story about the AIs that when they started talking to each
But
other.
that's not what this is.
That's why.
The issue that Elon is talking about is that if you're in the IRS, you can't see if someone's an illegal immigrant because the DHS data is separated.
Yeah.
So he's like, why can't we just actually see in the tax files? We have the data over here. My attitude is the government has access to it already. It's already public data the government has. I don't care if the IRS goes through it and can see what DHS has.
But so one of the counters that I've heard from someone who is actually on the libertarian side of the spectrum is if I'm under investigation for something from the FBI or something like that, and I'm at the same time, I've never been convicted of anything. I'm innocent until proven guilty. And at the same time, I'm applying for a small business loan, for example. Do I want the Small Business Administration to be able to see that I could be a no good scoundrel that...
Except they usually have in the application, are you currently accused of a crime or pending litigation and legal challenges when you apply for loans?
There's even a box you can check on, are you a no good scoundrel?
No, I know.
You're required to.
No, no, that's the whole ban the box conversation. But do you think? I guess
Yes.
in the scenario that I was talking about with this friend, which was like, what if there is a FISA thing or whatever? Let's just say there's information that the government has that shouldn't be handed over to all the different organizations.
I think it should.
Hold on. You got to clarify what that means. What data could one agency have that another agency should not have? That's an important question.
Let's see, because this was a comment from a friend, so I'll try to steel man.
What about your debt? Like, what if you have tax debt that you're paying off? Should every agency know about your debt?
Okay, let's go with that.
They
That's-
already have the right
like
to
a
know
better
these
case than
things
I'd
for the
come up
most
with.
part. And so what?
No, you guys were looking for an example. So,
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I don't care.
yeah, that's the one I came
don't
up
like
with.
it.
I mean, there's already credit reporting agencies, and they can just ping your credit whenever they want, whether you like it or not.
Your taxes show up on your credit report? I don't think they do. The one thing that I think is so when Obama did the ACA, there was a lot of consolidation of data, computerization of data that had not been done before, and what that led to, right, was HIPAA, where you have to say like you agree that they can't share your data anywhere, or like you have to sign off on that. I wonder if there is sensitive information that could be, agreed upon of what sensitive information could be defined as, if you could have some kind of HIPAA thing.
Yeah.
Or I don't know if the armed EPA agents know this or can access this already, but do you want the armed EPA agents knowing that you are a registered gun owner?
Well,
Yes, I do.
They're all armed. Every
I think
agency has
Every
some
gun
kind of,
owner is armed.
No,
I think
no,
the benefit of the right to bear arms in a modern society is we do not want anybody shooting at cops. We do want the government to fear its citizens. So yes, I'd love it if they knew that I was a gun owner. Now, I don't think I should have to register my guns and tell them what guns I have or anything like that. That is a problem. But I don't mind if law enforcement is like, hey, let's be very careful going to this guy's house.
Yeah.
They should do that with everybody. But
Because I'm more inclined to think that those are like the second and third order effects of Doge that could really modernize and revolutionize government.
the principal issue with government is corruption.
Yeah, because it's always going to turn into something. They sell it with like good short-term benefits, like we're going to take care of immigration and stuff, which I want, mass deportations. But it turns into, I think, uglier stuff. Especially who knows how the social credit score will work and what they could pull from there. It's going to be beyond just government collected data. It'll be stuff that, complaints, like we'll have personal Yelps that the government will dip into.
It's going to be, can you get a loan? Can you, use your credit card here? Can you be in this place? Like, can you walk
fly?
in? Yeah. Can you fly? That's those kind of things are the most obvious.
The biggest problem is not, in my view, the sharing of data. The biggest problem is that is the loss of community, and that's going to destroy human civilization. So the way I tend to explain it is, when you live in a small town, and Shane is a young man, and he's speeding down the highway, and he gets pulled over. And deputy comes up to the car, and he goes, "Shane, what am I going to tell your daddy when I see him down at the bar? You were speeding again." Yep. And you're like, "Dude, oh, Deputy Smith, please don't tell my dad." And then he's like, "Well, I'm going to tell him. I'm going to let you off with a warning, but I'm going to see him, and he's going to whoop your ass when he gets home." And you're like, "Ah, crap." In a modern society, the cop walks up, and you go, "Excuse me, officer." And he goes, "Shut up. Here's your ticket." And you go, "What is this for?" And he goes, "Don't care, tell it to a judge." Yep. And you're like, "I wasn't speeding." He goes, "Have a nice day," and he leaves.
I agree with you, but it would be worse than that because it's going to be a drone that you don't even interact with.
Exactly.
Yeah. And
the drone's going to pull you over, and it's going to go, "Shane Cashman, you are wanted for murder." And you go, "What?" Yep. And it's going to go, "Error, murder, error." Yep. And you're going to be like, I'm not. It's like, it's like that Family Guy bit. The Terminator's going to walk up to you and goes, "Stop resisting." And you go, "Yes." And he goes, "You are resisting." Lethal force authorized. And you're like, "I'm not resisting. I'm not."
Yep.
Or like in the Fifth Element, this is a police control.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great movie.
The problem is, once we get all this shared data, once the government grows to that point. Have you guys? I've been watching Andor. Have you guys watched Andor?
I haven't watched it in a bit.
So the first season was from a few years ago, so this is not a spoiler. But basically, the main character is on the beach, and some guys are running from Imperials, and then he's like freaks out, so he like scoots up pretty quick and goes up the stairs, and then a trooper sees him and goes, "Hey, why are you running?" And he's like, "I'm not. I'm going to the store." And then he's like, "You're suspicious. You must be with those guys." And then he has a droid come and hold him and arrest him for a public disorder violation. And then within like hours, they bring him before a magistrate, go public disorder. And he goes, "I don't know what's going on. I'm just a tourist." And they go, 6 years, boom, off to prison. That's what's going to happen.
It's like Les Mis.
Or I was going to say Kafka
Yeah.
That too.
trial, right?
Yeah.
There's going to be like,
But they don't even tell him what he did. They don't even say public disorder.
yes, but what's going to, that's the reason why it's not Kafka. You're going to go to court and you're going to be like, "Your Honor, please, I actually was not the guy they're looking for. He ran past me. I was walking down the street and he goes, 'Look, kid, you're probably right. All I'm supposed to do is my job is to bang the gavel and send you to prison.'"
There are
So sorry,
There are minimum requirements.
Yep.
Yeah.
sorry. What's that? You're innocent and you can prove it? "Look, man, all I do is bang the gavel. I don't know what you're talking about." Then the cop is like, "You're probably innocent, but look, all I do is bring you to the car." And everybody is just associated. Nobody acts like a human. We're already there.
Oh, yeah.
We're already there. Cops pull you over and say, "Don't care. Fuck you. Here's a ticket." You're like, "I didn't do anything wrong." "Don't care. Tell it to a judge." And then you're like, "I got to take off work to go fight this. What do? I can't afford that. I guess I'll just pay it." Suspended license.
So many
Personal
people
story,
out
buddy.
there hate their jobs and hate everyone else. I walk into a lot of establishments. Maybe it's just a me thing, honestly. But I walk in a lot of places and it's like they don't want your business. They're actually mad
yeah.
that someone walked in to make them work.
I hate
It's
that.
insane. And it's widespread,
It happens all the time.
especially at the airports.
Or like if you walk into a Starbucks and they just look at you and then they go back to doing the mobile orders in the drive-thru.
Yeah.
Or like I went to a Baskin Robbins with my son and we were just like, oh, let's get an ice cream. Look, there's a Baskin Robbins. Let's get an ice cream. We walk in, they stand there. You know, they're like doing drive-through and mobile orders. We're like, hi. They just like literally the person looked at me and then looked away.
Yep.
And that was it. We like stood there for a little bit, kept trying to get their attention, and then we left.
Because
We did not get any ice cream.
because they have no pride in doing a job or any job.
Yeah.
Look, everybody knows this. When you work fast food, you hate it when it's packed.
Yes.
But the business owner loves it when it's packed. I mean, I think there's a problem with how businesses are run, to be completely honest. If you tell your employees, look, you're going to get $15 an hour, that's it, no matter what. It's like, okay, what if it's really busy? I don't know. Cross your fingers, hope they give you tips.
Right.
Nah, I would never run a business like that. I would start tell my
Surge pricing.
no, I tell my employees like we'll break it down by hour. Anything that exceeds the standard level, like here's how many orders we do per hour on average. When that exceeds, we do surge payouts for the staff.
Right.
So if we're at
But would you do that if it was the reverse? If you go under that number of orders per hour?
No.
Like if you average 10, but then you get 5, you'd still, what would you pay them
baseline.
then?
yeah, because average is average. But if we're going over, then you're going to get a bonus for the excess that we do on these days. I think they should do that. But I do think you make a good point of sometimes business is bad and you got to pay them anyway. The problem with that is Jim gets scheduled for, Tuesday and Wednesday morning, which are usually empty. And then Rick is there on Sunday and he's got to work the 40 hours where it's double time. And he's going, why you keep scheduling me on Sunday? Rick is on Tuesday and nobody ever comes in. He's never doing any work. And I got to split tips with him. Screw that. Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.